Hi, I'm Tyler Bisbee. This is Kinesiology 404. We'll be introducing geocaching in today's video. Geocaching is something I've done with my family for a lot of years now, and it's something that I truly enjoy and my kids enjoy, especially my 13-year-old. So we'll be doing a lesson on geocaching. So an important part of geocaching is be able to use your GPS tracker, such as your cell phone, using a geocaching app or another type of GPS that's going to help you be able to find coordinates or to be able to mark waypoints in order to find these geocaches. So in a previous lesson, we have gone over how to set waypoints, and we can use those waypoints to make creative art to show different little waypoint diagrams. So while we were creating these waypoints, I've had my students go ahead and use their initials to create little waypoint initials onto the map. And then that way they can visualize where their points are according to what the letters are in their name. So today our objectives are going to be to have the learner be able to demonstrate and follow parameters for pursuing and finding cache using GPS unit. Draw his or her own initials by setting out waypoints on or with a GPS location and the points, and then show command of geocaching and using a handheld GPS. Our objectives, we then move into our learning domains, which are associated with the objectives, and this is cognitive learning to use GPS devices and to find waypoints, effective collaboration teamwork while finding geocaches, psychomotor fine motor skills using GPS device, and movement such as walking, running, bending to be supervised and then designated PE area while finding these caches. In this case today we'll be using our front yard, and then of course our volunteers are going to know to stay away from the streets where cars are coming and stay out of areas where they might be able to get hurt potentially. Another thing while we're geocaching that we should watch out for obviously are venomous creatures like snakes and spiders. So with most geocaches, especially if we're using the geocache app where it has GPS built in and we're able to use our handheld device to find a location almost down to its exact area, we can use our GPS to find our positions, and with the different types of geocaches we can move from an easy geocache such as this one that's pretty visible compared to other geocaches that might be very well hidden. So depending on the age group that we're working with and who we're working with, we can always either improve or decrease our level of rigor. So in our geocaches, each one of these caches I have 3 hidden, and we're going to be using the GPS markers to find these geocaches. And in each one of them we do have a stamp with a stamp or ink pad and a piece of paper that the students will be using, or our volunteers today will be using, to stamp their paper to prove that they found the geocache, so that at the end of the exercise they can turn that in for their points. Alright, so we have our last geocache hidden right behind this little brick wall that we have. So each one of these levels of geocaching is going to progressively get harder and harder. Alright, so we have our 4 volunteers. I have my sister Alicia helping out, niece Amy, father-in-law John, and brother-in-law Jerome. And so they'll be helping us out with this geocaching. Alright, so you guys are going to be working as a team. You've got your paper. We'll be stamping that paper when you find your geocaches. The geocaches are in the front yard here, no further than the edge of the house and the edge of the gate. We're going to be using your phone to load up your waypoints, and then use those waypoints to help navigate you to the 3 geocaches. Once you find them, make sure that you stamp your paper.
Okay. All right, ready?
Onward ho!
Watch out for the rocks, they might be slippery.
Amy, go check me out of that tree right there.
then the next one is going to
Hold
be...
it and one of you stamp it.
Yeah, I'll hold it. Hold it
And then
up.
a different person should stamp it at the next one. Don't stamp the shirt.
That's why we brought you.
It's a nice rainbow.
So you can lollipop.
Alright. Now the next one is going to be in
Make
this...
sure you replace that where you found it, Amy. That way the next group can try to find it too.
Okay, now we're going to... My phone says over here.
Alicia, maybe give somebody else the GPS now so that they can help read it as well. Make sure you're reading the GPS.
Ready? Fly right to you.
Good.
Good job.
Did you find it? Oh,
Good job.
yeah. Sweet. Alright, stamp.
Okay, it didn't work. We gotta do it again.
Nice job.
There we go. We got a little bit.
That worked. That worked. All right.
Make sure you place it where you found it.
Alright, now you can guide us.
Good.
Got enough? Where's the next one?
Follow your waypoints.
Right in this area.
All right.
Too great to look down. Find it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And where was it?
Right underneath that thingy.
You're there again.
Believe it or not, that's 3 stamps. 1, 2, 3.
Looks like we need to replace the ink in those geocaches. All right, so today we went over our geocaching as a group, but it's important to know that if we have a bigger space or we have a lot of students, we could always work individually with the students, or we could work in tiny groups and have them work around looking for these geocaches. Also in the high school setting, it is important to understand that we may need to introduce modifications depending on the students that we're working with. I do have a few modifications down, so depending on the needs of the student in the class and any IEPs that might require specific changes, 2 general modifications that can be implemented for this activity are adapting the field size and boundaries and adjusting the time and the assignment length. So today we worked in groups to help kind of modify the length of time it was going to take to create this video. Since students will be finding geocaches in a supervised area, it may be too large of any area for some students with physical limitations. For these students, the geocache area can be made smaller and more accessible. So it's important to understand that some students may not be able to work in such a large area, especially in a high school or a middle school where the grounds could be extremely large and these little items can be so small depending on how difficult the settings are for the geocaches. Another modification would be time and or assignment length. If the required number of collected stamps is 5, an adaptation might be to only require 3 for the students with limitations requiring such in the adjustments. If a time adjustment is implemented, it might mean providing additional class time for the following day for the assignment to be completed. It's important that we understand that we do have paperwork in place to help protect these students, and these students that do need these limitations that are on IEPs, we need to be able to make sure that we accommodate them so that they can have as much fun as the other classmates and they won't have the stress or the anxiety that may come along with trying to do such a complex task. Just want to say thank you to everybody for watching. We had a lot of fun making this. My family and I, we love doing geocaching, especially on our phones when we can go out camping and then pull up a geocache and then go out and try to find it. It's a good family event and something that we can bring into the classroom that is super fun, and it just kind of gets us out of that ordinary mundane day of going out and running or going out and playing tag. We can implement some new ways of doing PE and activities.